You already know it's Mr. Hood Love Mikey B, and this is Hood Love TV, where you live, love, and learn. Today I'll be reacting to Young Thug, the streets, and the real 80's gangsters. You know what I'm saying? I see Young Thug came out here and got caught in all these politics. They got him in a trick bag. Yo, City Bama, what up? It's a pop out. I had to do a pop out. You know what I'm saying? Just pull up real quick. You heard? Pull up real quick on the peoples and say, I ain't been up here in a second. You know what I'm saying? And say a few words. You heard? But they got Young Thug, on an interrogation for 2 hours, saying dudes' names. Yo, Abdul, what up? Saying dudes' names. Um, happy Labor Day to all of y'all. You heard? Hope y'all enjoying y'all weekend, barbecues, doing y'all thing. It's a lot going on. You know what I mean? It's a lot going on in these streets. You heard? Um, but yeah, they running Young Thug they running them through the whole YouTube right now, the whole internet. You know what I'm saying? They wilding Young Thug up everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Um, does he deserve it? When you preaching these images and you saying you this type of person, I mean, you're gonna get feedback. You're gonna when you do stuff like that, and it all comes out, it comes to the light, then you're gonna, they're gonna get with you. Oh, Henny, what up? Salute. My thing is this. This is how I feel though. Homie's a rapper. It's a lot of dudes around him that's supposed to be real gangsters in the streets. All these dudes that he looked up to, they all told. They all told down there in Atlanta. A bunch of these street dudes is telling. A bunch of dudes is telling. Y'all see me on the internet going back and forth, stuff going on with, and exposing dudes up here. The real gangster, son was a rapper. And I'm not saying that he wasn't a tough dude or he wasn't in the streets before he started getting money in the industry. But homie was a rapper. You expect him to keep it realer than the dudes in the streets and all these dudes in the streets is telling? Like, this is what y'all gotta look at, you know what I mean? And like I said, I wasn't gonna come up here and talk about this because everybody been talking about this. And if I come up here, I'm gonna give y'all a whole different perspective. I'm gonna give y'all my perspective, but I'm gonna give you a whole different perspective on how to look at this thing. You know what I'm saying? All these dudes we see getting locked up in the music industry, they all got kids. Or most of them have children. They not raising them kids to be gangsters. Those kids getting good educations. They live in good communities, um, good relationships. You see what I'm saying? And none of us should be raising kids to be criminals or to be gangsters. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you raising a kid, if you a black man or a black woman or anybody, brown, Puerto Rican, white, no matter what you are, if you are raising a kid to be a gangster or a criminal, you are raising a slave. The only way for you to be a slave in America right now is if you go to the penitentiary, if you catch a felony. And the way America is now with everybody telling, the cameras everywhere, you get into the streets, you get into crime, you will be going to prison at some point. You're going to prison. You standing on it, you ain't running your mouth, you are going to jail and you will be a slave. So if you're raising a criminal, if you're raising a gangster, then you are raising a slave. You are raising a slave to the system. You see what I'm saying? And that's just as real as I can keep it, you heard? If you can't see that and you don't understand that, if you didn't see it before, you haven't heard it before, then you can see it now. Because I opened your eyes to it. So when I see the Young Thug, I've been, if y'all watch me, a lot of these guys that be in my chats, they've been with me for a while. We've been having these conversations for a long time. Right? So they know when I originally, my original video when I talked about Younger and Gun, when Young Thug and Gunna, I knew they weren't gonna hold it down. I knew that they would break. And you know, it all comes out that they were broken. But like I said, dudes that were greater men than them in the streets, greater characters have broken. The system have broken greater people. You see what I'm saying? It has broken greater people, street dudes, the Alpos. Look at they running big meats through the internet. Bigger gangsters, bigger hustlers, bigger dudes have been broken by that system. So I didn't expect Thugger, Gunner, or those guys that weren't really criminals to win against the government, to hold out against the government. You understand what I'm saying? Yo, Nikki, what up? Salute to everybody pulling up. Appreciate you. Hey, wow, in the chat. Yo, you already know Queens get the money, man. Big Queens. But I ain't gonna get down on Younger on this. The reason why I really came up here is because I don't like to even see Atlanta, the Big 1090. I don't like to see the way the streets breaks up families and the way the streets break up communities. Them dudes in Atlanta was getting millions together. They let a criminal case tear the whole Atlanta up. Everybody's beefing. The reason why they got so much money is because they had a tight-knit community. That community made money because they kept that community strong. Now that community, they're not gonna get no money like that no more. They talking about the little baby, Woody, Rollo, Gunna, Young Thug. They got 21 Savage in the middle of that shit. You see what I'm saying? When I see that, that's a way to destroy their community, bro. This is what the streets do to families and to community. It destroys them. I don't want to see the destruction of that Atlanta. Because I'm not living there, because I'm from New York. I don't want to see the destruction of them guys getting money, of them young black men making millions and being successful. Because that's what they are. They successful black men that are choosing to do criminal acts when they got all the money. They're the dumbest dude. They're really the stupidest dudes in the world. And that's one thing why I put the streets in the 80's gangsters. What I learned from the 80's gangsters growing up in Queens in real time was everything is not for everybody. When I was a kid and my family didn't have it like that, and I tried to go on them blocks on the south side, on Hollis, on Farmers, on Linden, those old timers seen me, they knew my family members, and they said, yo, you can't hustle out here. Nah, they gave me a couple dollars, and they ran my little ass off the block. They didn't give me a job as a lookout. They didn't tell me to hold the packs. They didn't give me a book bag full of guns and say when the police come, run. No, they said, ain't you Tina's son, Shirley? Ain't Jack your uncle? Ain't Jeff your uncle? You ain't supposed to be out here. Here go a couple dollars. Get up out of here. This ain't for you. They ain't try to use and abuse me as a young, dumb kid, which is what happened to me in the 90's when, you know, we lost that real 80's gangsters. When we lost those real 80's gangsters, the new era of dudes didn't care. It was block for block, and they recruited anybody and anything. And that's why the streets are where they are. We lost the honorable and the respectable gangsters that wouldn't allow just anybody to do anything. Case in point, if the Young Thug and them didn't have Yes Man and real gangsters around them, they would have kept Young Thug and them out of the streets. If they had a real OG around them, a real gangster, some real dudes around them, they would have kept them out of the streets. But once you get money nowadays, no matter how young you are, dudes make you the leader. The old dudes call you big homie. You might be 22 and you got the bag and the dude is 50. The dude is gonna call you big bro because you got money now. I don't do that. I don't do that. But that's how it changed. They changed the whole street. So these guys, they got money, they become the leaders and they don't know shit. They don't know nothing. They don't have strong personalities and strong dudes around them and wise dudes around them. When I was coming up and I was in the streets and I used to be with the rappers, running around, New York and other states, I seen a lot. I don't be up here talking about everything. I don't be coming up here talking about everything, but I seen a lot. It's dudes that are millionaires right now because I didn't give them a gun when they were drunk. We at clubs and shit is going on, it's fights, stuff happens. And these guys is coming to me like, yo, bro, let me get the heat, son, violated. Nah, don't worry about it, bro. I'll deal with that, bro. You ain't getting no gun. Because I'm a strong personality. I had my brother's back. I know they was a rapper or a DJ or whatever you were in the music industry. You not no gangster. So there's no reason for you to have no skill. I'm just being honest of who I was at that time. And when I come up here and talk, dudes say a lot of shit, but nobody come up here and say Mikey B is lying about none of that. Nobody say I'm lying. I don't gotta lie. So these dudes that's millionaires, they probably don't even remember. They were so drunk. They probably don't remember. I remember. I had their best interests at heart. I remember because they had the bag. I would not, let them ruin their lives in a drunk moment, in a dumb moment. They had Tekashi 6ix9ine calling Tekashi 6ix9ine throwing bags on people's heads, on videos, talking shit, and they all locked up because nobody played their position no more. Nobody listened. Nobody got real dudes in their corner. Nobody's real. They ran a bunch of dudes chasing a bag. Nobody cared. Nobody gonna say, yo, bro, I just came out. You got these dudes coming from jail doing 10 and 15 years and they going around these rappers and they just, answering up instead of saying, yo, I just sat down for 15 years. Let me tell you how this shit gonna go. We don't got no real leaders, bro. We don't got that shit no more. We got a bunch of yes men running around with dudes with money just trying to look good and don't care. And then when everybody get locked up, everybody know they gonna tell, and that's why you see this stuff going on, bro. I don't blame that shit on them dudes in Atlanta, bro. It's been going on. This is a systematic thing that we facing in our communities, bro. But we got to get back to being real honorable men, really thinking for ourselves and our family and our peoples, bro. Because this is destroying, this street shit is destroying families and communities, bro. Real talk. Them dudes was millionaires. They messed the whole bag up. They messed the whole bag up on some fake gangster shit. Because let me tell you something. If they was real gangsters, everybody wouldn't told like that. Everybody wouldn't have told. It might have been one dude, two dudes. Yeah, son did bad. Everybody told. Everybody told. So you dealing with crews of dudes that's already you're not gangster. You got a bunch of dudes out here trying to play gangster, and when everybody get locked up, you got the shooters telling, you got the dude that sent the hit telling, everybody telling everything they're trying to get out of it. Which shows y'all is not gangsters. Stop trying to portray these images. Stop trying to be these people. Be honorable men. Love your family. Love your community. Love your people. There's nothing wrong with that. These dudes making these songs and they start believing that shit. They start believing they really these dudes, these really until them cowboys come and kick your door in. And then you know you really not that. Don't let them people, don't let the pilgrims run down. You know, don't be a gangster to your own peoples and kill your peoples. And then when the pilgrims come, you the biggest rat in America. Stop now. Stop early. Get out early. Yo, listen, this ain't for me. Nah, bro, I'm not no gangster. I'm out of that time. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a civilian. There's nothing wrong with being a good father. There's nothing wrong with being a good brother. There's nothing wrong with being a great worker. There's nothing wrong with that. Those are great things. Those are great things to be, great things to look up to, bro. You don't gotta be a fake gangster, bro. It's like everybody in our community want to be a fake gangster. You can't go to the store in no communities without somebody looking at you wrong or trying to act like everybody want to be a fake gangster in 2025. I don't understand it, bro. Until they come face to face with the real gangsters. The real gangsters, the white people predominantly that run the government, they kick your door in, they're gonna show you they're the real gangsters. You gonna come, you're gonna throw your hands up, you're gonna throw your gun, you're gonna bust it open when they tell you to bend over. You're gonna bust it open, you're gonna cough. You're gonna do all the stuff that a gangster's not gonna do. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest, bro. We gotta raise family. We gotta raise a community. We gotta raise kids, bro. And I don't like to see the destruction that's going on with Atlanta. I don't like to see it. I'm just being honest. Them dudes was tight. They had a tight community, and they let this street shit mess their money up, mess their relationships up, mess their whole network up. Now you don't know where this shit can go. It can go into the streets now. Dudes is up there saying dudes is rats. Dudes is saying dudes is gay. That stuff might, them dudes might see each other. You don't know how that's going to go when these guys start seeing each other out in public. You don't know. You don't know the effects that this is going to have on Atlanta. These dudes got strong people behind them. They strong. These dudes are strong dudes. These dudes are millionaires. And they got crews and, they got people. So you don't know how that's going to affect that community, bro. And we got enough bullshit going on in our communities than to have these dudes beefing over nonsense, bro. We got to start thinking. And y'all OGs, man, y'all elders, bro, that's around these dudes and in these dudes' ears, y'all got to start being real OGs. What happened to the real OGs? What happened to the real elders? You got a bunch of suckers, a bunch of corny dudes out here. Just shaking their heads for the bag. Like everything is about the bag, bro. What's money? What's money, bro? Money was never the thing that defined us. All right, we had money, we got money. Queens get the money. But money wasn't the thing that defined who we were. Money never made us. Money didn't make me. People don't know my name throughout a lot of these communities because of the internet or because of money. I'm just being honest. Some of it is probably some bullshit. Just being real with my life and who I was. But it wasn't because I was rich. It wasn't because I was the biggest money maker. I'm just being honest. We gotta straighten up, man. Streets is nasty, man. The streets is nasty. And don't get me wrong, those streets run through our communities, bro. Those streets run through our communities. So we all have a job. We all have, regardless of what you think, we all have a job to do in repairing that shit, bro. We all have a job speaking on the internet, speaking to the kids around you, speaking to the OGs around you. We all got jobs. We all got purposes out here. We all play a role in this shit, bro. We all play a role in this. That's why I'm so happy. A lot of the stuff they was doing wasn't right. And I'm not here And I'm not here to commend or to glorify the streets. But I'm just saying, them 80s gangsters, they kept that stuff amongst themselves. They didn't bring it to our families. They didn't bring it to our community. They did what they did on their time. They didn't involve people that weren't built for it, for the most part. And that's why you don't hear all these stories of all the rats that you have now, all the rat you have going on, because you got a bunch of dudes being recruited that's not built like nothing. You got a bunch of people being recruited into these gangs, into these street organizations, into hustling or whatever that's not built like nothing. A bunch of dudes that's not built like nothing. And then these dudes, they staying around while all the real gangsters and real dudes going to jail, they stay around. So now you got rats running everything. You got a bunch of no good dudes running everything. Because while you going to jail, they talking. They telling, they staying out. So they got all your connections. They probably got your money. They got all your peoples. They got all your knowledge of the real gangsters. And that's why the streets is so bad. Because the rats are empowered, bro. The rats are empowered, bro. Believe me, that's why the streets is so bad. What do you think? What you think? These, they got strong pieces left out here in these communities, bro. These CIs is like chess pieces in all these gangs and all these street organizations. A CI is a strong piece. He's there sitting until the government is waiting to use him. He's sitting amongst you. Or for other things. If there was ever a civil war or a revolution, what role do you think the CI and the rat is gonna play in a revolution? You think he's gonna be on your side? You think he's gonna be on the side? What side do you think he's gonna be on? It's bigger implications to the things that's going on out here. It's bigger moves. You gotta think from a bigger perspective, bro. These assets, because that's what they assets. These government assets is sitting around waiting to be activated. Where he at? What's up with him? Where if you interrogated for 2 hours, how many dudes is interrogated like that? How many hours you talked? How many people you talked about? How much information did you give them about your community, about your peoples? Why you think Harriet Tubman was running around with that grip? Why do you think she was running around with that grip? Who turned in Nat Turner? Think about it. Who turned in Nat Turner? Understand. Haitian Revolution. Who went against Toussaint? They try to say in the Haitian Revolution that, the mulattoes, history is trying to say the mulattoes went against the slaves. I think the mulattoes was just rats. I'm just being honest. Assets, French government assets that were activated because they're not going to go for you. They're not going to go for you. They're not going for the people. They're not going for the people. So what's bigger stuff going on out here, man. Just a different perspective, you heard? I don't like to see communities destroyed. Hip-hop community or whatever. I don't like to see communities destroyed. I don't like to see black business being destroyed because that's what's being, no matter how you look at it, what's going on with Gunna, Thugger, Little Baby, and all of these guys right now, that's names is being thrown out there, they're destroying their businesses. That's the destruction of black business. YSL, no matter how you cut it, was a black business, bro. YSL was a black business, bro. Young Thug was a successful black entrepreneur, bro. That is the real. So they destroyed another successful company. What we seeing right now in real time is our current Black Wall Street being destroyed. One way or another, even with Diddy. I don't, even if he's guilty or innocent in the things that he did, You know, if he did anything, I don't stand with nobody that's gonna do anything to kids or women, or I don't stand with nobody like that. But I understand when you are destroying black wealth, when you are destroying generational wealth, when you are taking that and destroying that and divvying it out to other people. This is what has been going on with us in this country for 500 years. They took our stuff, they took it from the Native Americans, divvied out their land and gave it to other people. They took this, they do. So all I see is this Black Wall Street being destroyed again. This is Black Wall. We gotta move away from that. We smart enough to make money without crime. We are smart enough to make money without being criminals. We are smart enough to do that. Our families did that before us. They weren't criminals. Grandparents, great, maybe some were. I'm not saying everybody wasn't. But for the lion's share, we didn't have millions of criminals. We might have had one or two, you know, the black sheep of the family, but we didn't have millions of criminals and filling up these cells and taking care of other people with our bodies and our work and our bondage. We didn't have that. We got to get back to being just real men. Stand up. You know what I'm saying? Solid. I ain't going against being solid and being for the people, because I am. I'm a live, you know, I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. But I know that we can make it without doing crime, bro. They had the money already. There's no reason for them to do anything. They got the money. All these dudes that got the money, they destroying. This is what we seeing right now. What we seeing right now is a modern day destruction of Black Wall Street. This is what you see. And I'm not saying they ain't got trumped up charges, or I'm not saying some of these guys ain't do wrong. But they RICOing and conspiracies and putting all these dudes together. Stop allowing them to do that. When you pick up these gang affiliations, if you really with the gang or not, they're going to use that against you in a court of law to take you down easier. They got a bunch of videos of you throwing the gang signs up and you saying whatever you saying, talking your talk and all of that. All they're going to do is use that against you in a court of law and make it easier for them to take you down, bro. Like, we gotta wise up right now, especially our millionaires, especially our, you know, the cream of the crop, the best of our peoples, our greats. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, Young Thug was a great. No matter how you look at it, Young Thug is a great. And we gotta protect our peoples, bro. You guys gotta move away from that shit. You gotta move away from these dudes, bro. Get your money, stay on your time, and take care of your family. You know, but that street should stop trying to be fake gangsters. We got enough fake gangsters out here, yo. We got enough fake gangsters out here in the streets, man. But that's my piece on this, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't come up here to point fingers, because we know who the rat. You see who's who. I just see the bigger implication of this right here. The destruction of these communities, the destruction of our people, the destruction of our wealth. You see what I'm saying? That's what I see. That's what I see. And they using our stupidity, us connecting to shit that ain't from our communities, connecting to foreign gangs, connecting to things that don't do nothing for us, bro. But destroy the things that we building. That shit is not doing nothing for you but destroying the shit you building, bro. Them dudes ain't bailing you out. They ain't coming to see you. They ain't doing none of that. They ain't doing nothing but taking from you when you in power. Using you when you in power. That's it. That's all they're going to do. Yo, let me get this. Let me get that. Come check for this. Come check for that. And I'm not saying a couple of dudes might not keep it, but as a unit, ain't no unity. I was in that shit for 20 years. I know what's going on. Ain't no unity. It's unity in name, not action or purpose. It's unity in name. You have a great chance of one of your own killing you or telling on you more than you have of somebody else doing something to you. I don't got no scars from my enemies. I got scars from guys that was on my team. Just being honest. So we got to wake up and realize, man, we got to understand that this shit is not for us. All this stuff was promoted and given and pushed to us because it was pushed to us. It was marketed to us like any other thing in America. They marketed the gang to us. They marketed the gangster to us. They marketed all that shit to us, and we took it hook, line, and sinker. It's time for us to get away from that, to be honorable stand-up men. There's nothing wrong with that. Being honorable stand-up men, you can still be united and create organizations and stuff like that, but create organizations that are for the betterment of yourself and your community. Create something new. Create new names like Hood Love, companies. Create stuff like that. Create your own crew that's going to be for the betterment of you and your community, that's not attached to old destruction of our people. Because when you attach yourself to your name, you attach yourself to the history. All these conspiracies that I've seen, when they talk about it, if it's blood, if it's Crip or anything, they start out in California. They start out in Chicago. They tell those histories first. Then they tell whatever state. They're going to tell your history state. This is how the conspiracies work. It started in New York in 1993 by O.G. Mac. This is a subset of the blood. This is how all these conspiracies sound. They all sound the same. The Bloods were started in California in 1963, made its way to New York by way of, this is how these conspiracies sound. This is what they say in the paperwork. So once you connect to that, you connect to all of that history. And when it's time for your conspiracy to come, that's going to say the same thing. Started in 1963, came to New York. From New York, it went to Atlanta, North Carolina, or wherever you might be at. Be smart. Wise up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just tell you this. Before I came home, I changed my name from Glorious Mikey B to Mikey B is Free, right? That's what got me out of prison. That was that was the thing. I had to free myself mentally. You got to free yourself from these mental chains. The mental chains is worse than anything physical that they can ever do to your body. You got physical chains. You got mental chains on your mind right now. And this is why, you do the things you do. You make the choices that you make, and you're living the life that you live. If you learn anything from me, man, be free. Free yourself from all that bullshit. Free yourself from these dudes, man. Free yourself from these fake big homies. And I'm not saying the real ones, because you got some real ones. But you're gonna know the difference. You're gonna be able to see a difference. Connect to real elders. Connect to real people that have your real best interests at heart. That's what freed me. I changed my name before I left prison. You can look at my Instagram and see that. It was Glorious Mikey B. Before I came home, I changed it to Mikey B is Free. Because I freed myself of all the bullshit. And that's why I'm successful right now today. Not just the crime stuff, the other stuff, the other connections that held me down for my whole life. Once I freed myself of those connections, then my life became easier. Everything became easier for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here working. I'm out here eating. I'm successful. I'm doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? For my family and myself. Being a good man for my community. When people see me now, they love me. They love the work that I do. And I have a whole different connection with my community. I have a whole different connection now. You know what I'm saying? And as an elder, I gotta speak like this as an elder. You know what I'm talking about? And because maybe you don't know, maybe you haven't seen the things that I have seen. But I'm telling you, man, free yourself of this bullshit. Come out here, raise good, healthy families, strong women, strong men, because we need them. We need y'all. We need that. We not raising criminals. My family ain't raised me to be no gangster. My family ain't raised me to be a criminal. I'm glad I got all that shit off of me. You see what I'm saying? Hopefully, if you hearing this and you got it on you, hopefully this is one of the things that helps you break the chain of that shit that's on your mind, that's holding you in position. But that's how I became successful. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm successful now, and that's how I'm living a good life now, you heard? Hopefully y'all make the same decisions. Hopefully you are. And if you are already making those same decisions, we need y'all to talk to these people. You know what I'm saying? Talk to the people in your community, the kids, the elders, or whoever, is going, you know, listen, you know what I mean? But that's my take for tonight, you heard? I ain't want to be up here too long, but I definitely wanted to pop out, you heard? Y'all already know what it is, man. It's Mr. Hood Love Mikey B, and this is Hood Love TV, where you live, love, and learn. Salute.